Attention passionate Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC West and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Seattle Seahawks' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Seattle Seahawks fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Seattle, SEAHAWKS fans. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFL news cycle lately, you've probably seen some whispers, some rumors flying around about potential trades and shifts in the NFC landscape. But what's really catching everyone's eye right now is the possibility of the Seattle Seahawks making a bold move that could reshape their receiving core, and consequently, their entire offensive outlook. And yes, I'm talking about the intriguing possibility of the Seahawks eyeing Chris Olave from the New Orleans Saints. Now, I know it might sound a little out there at first, especially considering the Seahawks already have some promising weapons, but let's delve into why this move could make a ton of sense for both teams and, more importantly, for the Seahawks' championship ambitions. To understand this potential trade, we need to look at the current state of the Seahawks' receiver room. Right now, Seattle boasts Jackson Smith-Njigba, who's shown flashes of brilliance in his rookie season, and of course, Cooper Kupp, who's been an absolute stalwart when healthy. But here's the thing, Kupp's future with the Seahawks isn't set in stone. Over the next couple of seasons, there's a real chance we could see him either be a cap casualty or a trade candidate, especially if the Seahawks want to free up some space and reshape their roster. Remember, Kupp is on a deal that could be cut in the next year or two, saving Seattle millions and giving them flexibility. But beyond that, what has really caught the eye of analysts and fans alike is the possibility of adding someone like Chris Olave. Now, Olave is a player who has star potential written all over him. He's got speed, route-running ability, and a knack for making big plays, an ideal outside receiver. And this is precisely where the Seahawks could benefit. Olave's game is primarily outside, with about 70% of his routes coming from the wideout position in 2024. That's exactly the kind of receiver Seattle needs to complement Smith-Njigba, who is more of a slot guy. The Seahawks have been looking for that outside threat, especially one who can stretch the field and create mismatches. Olave would do just that. Now I want you to pause for a second. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Seattle Seahawks news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. One of the most compelling reasons for this potential trade is the situation with the Saints. The New Orleans team is facing some significant hurdles. They've got Derek Carr leading the offense, but there are questions about the overall direction of the team, especially with a new head coach, Kellen Moore, coming in. The Saints are also grappling with salary cap issues, which could force them to make some tough decisions regarding their roster. And perhaps most concerning for them, Olave has a history of concussions, 5 to be precise, which raises long-term health questions. That's not just a medical concern, but also a factor that could impact his future value and the Saints' willingness to invest in him long-term. So, why would the Saints consider trading Olave? Well, there's a sense that his relationship with the team might have soured a bit. Reports suggest that Olave and the Saints have not been seeing eye to eye lately, and with some uncertainty about the franchise's future direction, especially with the focus seemingly shifting towards a potential rebuild or at least a recalibration, they might be willing to part ways. Remember, Olave is still under his rookie contract, with a fifth-year option in 2026, which makes him an attractive trade piece. The Saints could look to acquire a second or third-round pick this season in exchange, which would help them rebuild and address other areas of need. Now, why would this be such a perfect fit for Seattle? First, because Olave offers a dynamic outside threat that the Seahawks have been missing. Second, because the Seahawks have the resources and draft capital to make this happen. They sit with multiple second and third-round picks, and with the salary cap flexibility they're aiming for, they can absorb Olave's contract without too much trouble. Plus, Olave's youth, just 23 years old, is a huge factor. He's entering what should be the prime years of his career, And under Pete Carroll's coaching staff, he could blossom into the kind of receiver who elevates the entire offense. And let's not forget the potential chemistry with Smith and Jigba. These two, having been college teammates at Ohio State, could develop an immediate rapport. That familiarity could translate into on-field success right away, giving Geno Smith even more options in the passing game. This kind of pairing, an outside speedster with a slot receiver who can work the middle, could unlock a lot of mismatches and make Seattle's offense more explosive than ever. Some fans might be quick to say, "But wait, we already have Kupp, do we really need Olave?" Well, that's a fair question. But the reality is, Kupp's future with the Seahawks isn't guaranteed beyond the next couple of seasons. And even if he remains, having Olave as a complement adds a different dimension to the offense. Teams would have to adjust their coverage, and that's when the Seahawks' offensive scheme can really shine. Plus, Olave's contract is manageable for the Seahawks, especially given the salary cap space they've accumulated and the multiple draft picks at their disposal. There's also the aspect of timing. This isn't just about filling a need. It's about making a strategic move that positions the Seahawks for a deep playoff run over the next few seasons. Olave's skill set and youth align perfectly with Seattle's long-term plans. And because he's still on his rookie deal, the Seahawks could consider extending him down the line, making this a win-win move for both sides. Of course, no trade is guaranteed, and there are always hurdles. The Saints might want a higher draft pick, or Olave might want to stay in New Orleans. But from a strategic standpoint, this is a move that makes sense. The Seahawks have always been aggressive when it comes to building their roster around young, talented players, and Olave fits that mold perfectly. The potential chemistry with Smith and Jigba, the outside route profile, and the relative cost-effectiveness of acquiring him all point to a trade that could happen sooner rather than later. Imagine a Seahawks offense with Olave stretching the field, creating space for Smith and Jigba to work underneath, and giving Geno Smith a true deep threat. That kind of weaponry could elevate Seattle's offense to new heights, especially in key games late in the season when every yard and every point counts. And let's be honest, adding a player of Olave's caliber would send a message across the league that the Seahawks are serious contenders, not just for this year but for the foreseeable future. So, what do you think, Seahawks fans? Is this a move you'd love to see happen? Do you believe Olave could be the missing piece to catapult this team into Super Bowl contention? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop your comments below and let's get a discussion going. Your opinions matter so much to us and to the Seahawks' future. And remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and analysis on everything happening with the Seahawks. Stay tuned, stay passionate, and as always, go Hawks.